Breaking censorship news, boys. Censorship has won the day. Popular anime Chainsmoking Cat has been banned off of multiple platforms in Hong Kong and Taiwan after different anti-smoking advocacy groups targeted the show earlier this year. Now stick around because we're going to be doing a deep dive into what's actually going on behind the scenes, about how there is currently even groups fighting behind the scenes for Chainsmoker Cat's freedom of expression. So let's get into it, boys. Make sure to like the video if you want YouTube to count your view as view, and subscribe. It really helps me out. Anyone Asia has announced that Chainsmoker Cat will no longer be available on Anyone YouTube channels. Full announcement. Program change announcement to comply with local government regulations in relevant markets. Chainsmoker Cat will no longer be available on Anyone YouTube channels. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused by this arrangement, and we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to all subscribers and viewers who love this title for your understanding and continued support. This is a heartbreaking development. Chainsmoker Cat Yanni Neko has officially been banned in Hong Kong on the grounds that it violates smoking regulations. These activist groups literally reported Yanni Neko after a failed censorship campaign in Japan. They reported them in Hong Kong and Taiwan to try to get the show censored, saying that it promotes smoking. And if you've actually watched the show at all, did you know it does anything but glorify smoking at all? The show actually shows the reality of dangerous addictions and where you can end up. It's a great show. It's great for actually, an advocacy against smoking, if anything. But Chainsmoker's Cat, also known as Yanni Neko, has removed from official streaming services in Hong Kong on August 2026 after the Department of Health determined the anime violated the Smoking Public Health Ordinance's ban on online tobacco advertisements. The regulatory action was triggered by Animation Crazy, operated by Taiwanese forum Bahamut and Anyone Asia, which received notifications that the series repeatedly and prominently displayed real-life cigarette brands such as Mevius from multiple angles. Under sections 13B and 14 of the ordinance, such depictions are classified as prohibited online smoking product advertisements. Regardless of whether the content is sponsored or intended as satire, offenders face fines of up to 50,000 Hong Kong dollars, whatever the heck that is in Hong Kong dollars. So obviously Yanni Neko is in some seriously deep water here. They're in some serious legal trouble. But moving on, this also happened in Taiwan. Censorship in Taiwan. Taiwan platform pulls Yanni Neko over smoking depictions after receiving notice that it may violate the country's tobacco advertising laws. Anti-smoking groups complained about repeated clear depictions of real cigarette brands. The platform apologized and is offering refunds. The same series was also removed from Hong Kong viewers last week over similar rules. So it appears that maybe if Yanni Neko can actually, just censor, blur out the brand on these cigarettes, that it can get re-uploaded. Hopefully. The real issue is the targeted campaigns against the show. Because this show has seemed to ruffle so many different feathers of people that just live in too safe of a little world bubble, it has been targeted in everywhere. Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, America, Australia. It's been targeted everywhere. This seems to be the show that people really have a hate boner for, that they want to get removed from the internet simply because it shows the real life depictions of addiction just a little bit too dangerously, just a little bit too real. Imagine censoring a show because it showed real life addiction as a little bit too real. You know what I mean? Like, that's exactly what you want. You want people to see the real outcomes of what's going on. You want them to see the real outcome of suffering from addiction, but instead they would rather pull the veil over their eyes and pretend that they're living in a safe little world bubble for forever. But Taiwan censors Yanni Neko. Health authorities have launched an investigation and warned that the platforms could face a fine of up to $31,000 if it's confirmed they violated tobacco prevention laws. So it seems that the platforms, either Anyone, YouTube, or the channels more than likely that posted this content, could actually be fined of up $31,000 because of these different advocacy groups. So the service has opted to pull the show immediately. Yeah, obviously, because I'm sure that they don't want to have to pay multiple thousands of dollars over this. things were already looking bad earlier, days earlier, since it was also yanked in Hong Kong for being seen as illegal cigarette advertising. Now in Taiwan, as Creators Association has come out demanding that fiction not be treated as propaganda. And they're absolutely right. This is the Creators Association here is absolutely right. How can something that's posted as a complete work of fiction be treated as propaganda and be treated as advertising? Like, this is no commercial. This is a real life depiction of addiction and how someone struggles with it. And it works in favor of these smoking advocacy groups. It makes people not want to smoke. But of course, they don't care about that. They just care about getting their big win, right? But warning, this could open the door to censoring any other series that depicts vices. Fiction is not a crime, and it is absolutely not a crime. So what is going on to actually protect Yanni Neko's freedom of expression rights? What's going on behind the scenes to protect Yanni Neko here? To go over that, we have to show some of what happened in Japan earlier this year. And in Japan, they did continue to debate this, and it was eventually ironed out that Yanni Neko would not be censored, that freedom triumphs and lives for another day. The freedom of expression lives for another day. Yanni Neko defeats censorship. The controversial anime Yanni Neko was spared from punishment after receiving complaints from upset viewers over its extreme vices and questionable scenes. The Japanese Ethics Committee reviewed the criticisms regarding the use of controversial substances, but the majority of its members leaned toward defending the creator's freedom of expression. And that's what it should be. This is no commercial. This is no propaganda. This is absolutely a fictional work and is by no means meant to be a form of advertising. The issue is these people want to live in a safe little world bubble where all of their fiction is based off of their morality and is absolutely safe for them to consume without challenging any of their beliefs at all. And it's a hellish world that we don't want to live in. They argue that airing in the late night slot intended for adults being in an animated format, the work does not pose a real danger to young people. With that, the series will face no sanctions. Creative freedom triumphed today, and it absolutely did. But Taiwan's Yanni Neko, this is about what's currently happening, how it was canceled, and how some people are supposedly fighting back against this, taking action to actually fight for Yanni Neko's creative freedom and their creative rights. Taiwan's Yanni Neko broadcast has been canceled. Voices have reached us from individuals in the area who are working to protect freedom of expression. So there are evidently some individuals, at least in Taiwan, that are working to actually protect Yanni Neko from the campaign launched against it simply for depicting, what could appear to be a smoking brand that is actually real. And because it is, it could potentially be advertising for that brand. Like, that's it. You're doing so many leaps and bounds here for insanity. Like, if they could simply just blur out that name and the issue be over with, it shows that you are reaching for something to ban them on. That's what it shows. All they have to do is censor that name, blur it out, and what do you know? They no longer violate your stupid prohibition or whatever it is. But it continues. It seems that John Tung Foundation, a private nonprofit organization in Taiwan promoting anti-smoking efforts, has also taken action, contributing to this outcome. Related local news can be found in the replies. This is what we do know. There is a group in Taiwan fighting for Yanni Neko's freedom of expression. And the group that launched this censorship campaign in Taiwan is called the John Tung Foundation. And they're supposedly a private non-profit organization in Taiwan that promote anti-smoking efforts, but they seem to not want to promote the one anti-smoking show, the one real source of, anti-smoking. I would call it anti-smoking propaganda. That is how bad this show is. Like, it is a great show with great writing. But man, is it just, it just really shows a real life example of where you can be. Yes, it heightens it. It heightens it to the extreme of where addiction can end you up as, but it works to make people afraid. It's like, oh, I could end up that way if I go down this avenue. And I think that is a great thing. That's what we need. We no longer need to pull the veil over our eyes and hide from the reality of addiction. That has done nothing to stop addiction from taking place. You know what does stop addiction from taking place, or at least fights against it, way more effectively than just pretending it doesn't exist? Yeah, that's to show it at its extreme in the worst way, shape that you can. And that's exactly what Yanni Neko does. And it does it extremely well. But that draws into question, what about other shows that depict smoking? Is it simply the brand? Because obviously, if they could just blur the name of the brand of cigarettes and this all be over with, where they're no longer going to get fined and they can be put up on these platforms, then why didn't anyone and the other platforms just do that? Why didn't they just blur the name of the brand? Well, it's because there is a censorship campaign against the show, legitimately. These anti-smoking advocacy groups are actively going after it. And if they knew that they could just blur the name and it be over with, like this is definitely going to devolve into more. So it draws into connection. What other shows are actually at danger here? Because there was another show that was released recently that has smoking in it too, and it's called Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You. It's a great anime. It's also focused on, you know, it has some focus on smoking, but it doesn't show addiction in a bad light that like Yanni Neko does, which is why they haven't targeted it. See, this is the real issue. If they had a real problem with the smoking, then the anti-smoking advocacy groups would really be targeting this show, which they shouldn't, by the way. I don't think that they should, but it just shows where their headspace is at, that they attack the one thing that shows smoking in a very negative light. These anti-smoking advocacy groups are obviously, like, they're run by some absolute Karens. They really are. But is this show now in danger too, because these advocacy groups are now launching these campaigns and getting traction and actually winning big quote-unquote wins? At least they think they are. Is this show in danger now too? Because it's insane. It's ridiculous. Anyways, boys, you guys let me know down below what you think about that. Paper or plastic? Paper being good, plastic being bad. I'm going to go with plastic, boys. I think it's plastic through and through. We no longer need to live in this safe world bubble of pretending that problems do not exist in real life. We don't. As a matter of fact, it definitely doesn't need to be glorified, and showing it in its worst light does more to prevent people from falling into addiction than just not showing it at all does. It absolutely does. So make sure you like the video if you want YouTube to count your view as a view, boys, and subscribe. Let me know down below what you think about this. Do you guys agree with Yanni Neko being censored? Do you think that they should just blur the brand of cigarettes, or do you think that that won't stop it? Let me know down below. That's going to be it for me, boys. GG's. Peace.